What's up guys, my name is Liam and today we're going to be talking about the Darmoshark M3 4K. This is a recent 4K budget option that has just recently popped up. So is this going to be the perfect gaming mouse for you? Let's check it out. Alright guys, and here we got the Darmoshark M3 4K, and before we get started today, I do want to let you know that MetKeys sent this mouse out to me, so thank you guys very much for that. However, with that being said, everything you see in this video will be my own words and my truthful, honest opinions. So jumping over inside the box, pretty much a similar unboxing experience to the original Darmoshark M3 that just recently came out as well, the 1K version. Over here to the left, we do have the mouse, and I did opt for this kind of cool and unique black colorway where it's got the black top and it kind of has this neon looking yellowish green bottom with the side buttons and the matching scroll wheel. And over here to the right side, it does come with a cable with a USB-C connectivity. And then down here in the bottom, this mouse actually does come with the 4K dongle included inside. And here is a close-up of what the 4K dongle looks like. When I did first get this in, I was curious. I wasn't sure. This looked like it was some type of a LCD screen on here. And when I plugged it in, it's not any type of a screen. It just has a little LED indicator letting you know that it is connected. But I do actually like the design of this dongle. It sits at the edge of your mouse pad, nice and neat, tucked away, and it never got in the way. On the bottom of the mouse, same stuff as before. It has these 3 buttons down here at the bottom. The power button, which sits in the middle. If you have it in the middle, it's switched to off. If you switch it over here to the left, it actually gives you the Bluetooth mode. And like I've said many times before, the Bluetooth mode works great if you're on a laptop, but I don't ever suggest using Bluetooth mode while you're gaming. And if you move the button over here all the way to the right, this is how you turn the mouse on and you enable it to use the dongle and the 4K option. And then the button over here to the left controls the DPI settings, and then the button over here to the right, that's the return key. It does use the same skates as the Final Mouse Air 58. And the skates, they're okay. They're kind of harsh. They don't work very well on softer control pads or any pads with a lot of texture on them. However, they do work pretty well on speed pads and harder style pads. And the last thing included in the box, it does come with the instruction manual in here, and in this bag, there is also some additional goodies. You do get a little Darmoshark sticker. You get another sticker right here, and it does come with an extra set of PTFE skates. One of them got away there. And it does also come with some grips for the mouse as well. And here's everything that's included inside the bag. Coming back over here to the top, this feels like it's just a plastic injection mold on here, so there's no type of coating. It does have a slight bit of texture to it, but overall it feels pretty smooth in the hands. For me personally, when I was using this mouse, as you can see here, it does have a little bit of grip to it. It definitely isn't very grippy, but I didn't have any types of problems with it slipping in my hands or anything like that. I do feel like the tensioning on the buttons are actually really good. As you can see here, I don't really get any side-to-side play, and when it comes to the pre-travel on mouse 1, there's almost zero pre-travel. I also feel like the post-travel on the Switch is really solid as well. As you can see there, when you do actuate the Switch, I wasn't getting any type of bottoming out on the base or anything like that. Over on the right click, it's pretty much the same thing. I guess there is a slight bit more of pre-travel, but to be completely honest with you, the cost of this mouse, the way that these buttons feel and how solid they are is truly, really impressive. As you can see here, it's got a really consistent click all the way from front to back. It doesn't feel too hard from the back or too loose up at the front. And I feel like the consistency, since it's such a larger mouse, is a really important thing, since there's a lot of people that will probably grip this thing pretty differently. And the buttons are really easy to spam, and they're nice and clicky, great feedback. I do feel like they're just slightly a bit heavier than some of the other offerings out there. These do feel a bit heavier in the Huano Blue Shell Pink Dots, but no real complaints. Overall, I feel like the clicks are great on this mouse. The scroll wheel feels really good. It also felt great on the first copy. I don't notice any issues at all with the performance. Nice defined steps, easy to spam, and even the middle mouse click button, it feels solid. The side buttons do feel somewhat similar to the original M3 that I had, but I do want to say they do feel like they're tightened up a bit more. So it is nice to see that they have improved on this. When it comes to the front side button, there's very minimal pre-travel, almost none. And then the post-travel has a nice solid stop back there in the end. There's just a slight bit more pre-travel here on the rear side button, and it does have still a little bit of post-travel there. It is a bit worse than the front, but I wouldn't say that it's overall that bad. The side buttons did feel great in gameplay, and I didn't have any issues. I just had to get used to them being pushed a little bit farther forward than on other mice. And finally, when it comes to the build quality, one thing I did mention on the original M3 is the shell is a little bit flexible, so if you push really hard, you can't activate the side buttons. When I was gripping this mouse with one hand and playing in game, no matter how hard I gripped it, it never really seemed to be that much of an issue. Another thing that I did want to mention is when I got this mouse out of the box, it did have some popping on the side over here with the right side. I was able to play around with it and I managed to get it to go away, but I have seen other people reporting about it online. So just something to keep in mind when we are considering on picking up this mouse. I have reached out to Darmoshark to let them know about it, and they are aware of the situation and they are working on addressing that in future batches. And the last thing that I want to report to you guys is when I was gaming really tense situations and pushing down on the buttons pretty aggressively, every once in a while I'd get very minimal switch grinding, but I do believe that the entire time I have been testing the mouse has happened to me, maybe just a couple times, so I figured I'd bring that up and let you guys know about it. The sensor has been tracking on just about every single mouse pad I've tested out on with no issues. I do feel like the 4K implementation on this mouse is really great. It performed awesome in gameplay, and the performance to me just felt really good, and I didn't come across any major issues with it. And when it comes to the weight of the mouse, looks like I got it coming in at approximately 65.5 grams. And I do want to say the overall weight and balance of this mouse, it's really not that bad. I know a lot of people might see the 65 grams and think that that's a lot. Now, if it were on a smaller mouse, I would feel like it'd have much more of an impact for me personally, the way that I play. But when it does come to these bigger style mice, I feel like the bigger the mouse is, as long as the weight is distributed pretty evenly across it, which on this mouse, I really feel like it is, the weight truly doesn't seem like it's that bad. And when it comes to the balance, front to back, it does feel a little bit rear heavy. This does have a huge 800 milliamp hour battery in it. And as far as the battery life goes, this thing just keeps going and going and going. I did fully charge it when I got it, used it for a while, checked the software. It was still at 100%. And I haven't charged it once as I've had it. I've had it for about maybe a week or two, playing around with it here and there. But again, the battery life on this thing has been solid and probably one of the biggest batteries that I've seen in any one of these types of lightweight gaming mice. And then coming over to the side-to-side balance, it's pretty decent left to right. It does feel like it's almost a little bit to the left side, but overall, this thing really feels good in hands. It tracks nicely and the balance feels pretty consistent. And then finally, when it comes to software, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave a link down in the description. There's been a bunch of people having a hard time actually finding the software to this mouse. When you do open this software up, if it is in Chinese, you can actually go to the top right up here. You can hit this drop down box and you can actually select an option to where it'll actually put the software in English for you. And when using the software, you can just simply put it in the 4K option just right here, real simple to do. I did change the bounce time. I believe that it was default at 8 milliseconds. I did drop it down to 0 milliseconds. And I do want to let you guys know really quick, I have kind of noticed from time to time using these types of mice, if you are using a 0 millisecond to bounce time, there can be times where the buttons can kind of get stuck on you. And again, it's not been like a major deal and it's happened very rarely to me, but like say for example, I'll be aiming down my sights, holding down the right click, I'll let off the switch and it will stay still aiming down the sights. If you just hit it really quickly, it turned off. Again, if you want to prevent this from happening, you can lift the bounce time up a little bit more. But again, not a major issue at all. This probably has happened to me only like once or twice in the time frame that I've been using this mouse. And then aside from that, I just adjusted the lift-off distance. We got motion sync on and everything with these settings seem to perform pretty great. So let's drop a sound test with the click performance. And when it comes to the shape, I have talked about the shape in a previous video. I actually did a review on the original Darmoshark M3. This was just the original version with the 1K polling rate. So I'll go ahead and put a link for that down in the description below. And when it comes to comparing the Darmoshark M3 4K to the Logitech GPRO Superlight, both of these mice are pretty similar in overall size. The one thing I do notice, however, is on the Darmoshark, it does have this top mid hump here, and it more aggressively tapers off to the rear. I do feel like the shape of the Darmoshark M3 is a bit more comfortable for me personally than the Logitech GPRO Superlight, just because the Logitech GPRO Superlight has this high mid hump. and it slowly tapers off, and it has this part back here that kind of sticks in your hands and makes the mouse just feel like a little bit of a longer mouse. And when it comes to the curves on the side profiling, the Logitech GPRO Superlight just overall feels like it has less curves, and it does feel like a bit of a flatter mouse, whereas the curves aren't very aggressive on the Darmoshark, but it does flare out more aggressively towards the rear and towards the front of the mouse. And finally, when it comes to the middle hump profile on the height of these mice, they feel pretty similar to one another. And next up, when comparing the Darmoshark M3 4K to the Vaxee XE Wireless. Both of these mice, they truly feel pretty similar in the hands from one another. As you can see here, the overall size is pretty close. They both have this aggressive taper off towards the rear. I do feel like the mid hump on the Vaxee just feels a little bit more pronounced. I feel like the curve is a little bit softer on the Darmoshark, and since this does curve off a little bit more aggressively, I do feel like the Vaxee feels just slightly a bit shorter in the hands. And when it comes to the side curve profile, again, these are very similar to one another. They do have some curvature in them from front to back, but overall they feel pretty similar. I do feel like the Vaxee does feel a little bit more wide in the rear of the mouse, however, since it does curve just a little bit more aggressively right here. And as you can see, the rear has a less aggressive curve on the Darmoshark. Either way, I must say that both of these mice, they do have a lot of similarities, and just the overall size in hands, they do feel very similar to one another. Alright guys, so that wraps things up here for the Darmoshark M3 4K. I really do enjoy what Darmoshark is doing, and overall this just feels like a great mouse. The one thing I would have to say about it though, however, is I do hope that they can improve the build quality on future batches and overall just make it a little bit more of a solid product. But aside from that, coming in at the price that it's at $69.99 with the 4K dongle included, I would have to say that I've had a lot of fun using this mouse, and overall it performs really great. Alright guys, so if you feel like I've left anything out or you have any additional questions, please let me know down in the comments below. Aside from that, if you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please do give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.